Thank you so much to our inaugural panel for your words of wisdom and for such a great start to our e-summit. I'm sure all of our audience members are now ever more curious and ever more excited to learn about the special relationship and bond between India and Latvia. And so with these messages, let us now fully immerse ourselves within the Latvian culture through this next session. And in this next session, we are joined by a set of speakers who will be enlightening us on a series of topics. And so first we'll be listening to and learning from the respected Professor Igor Stepansky, who is the Deputy Rector at the Riga Technical University in Latvia. And he will be sharing his insights on the international relations and bilateral cooperations between both of these countries. After him, we will be listening to the respected Professor Ina Druviete, who is the Vice Rector for Humanities and Social Sciences at the University of Latvia, and she will be presenting her views on the topic of education and research. After her, we will be listening to the respected Professor Maya Burimaji, who is the Vice Rector for Studies at Daugavpils University in Latvia, and she also will be sharing her views on education and research. And after that, we will be listening to Ms. Liga Kolodaji, who is the Director of International Relations at Vansvils University, and she also will be providing her views on international relations and bilateral cooperations between both countries. So truly a set of exciting topics. And now let us fully immerse ourselves within the Latvian culture through this first session.
Dear students and professors of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, I'm especially honored to have a presentation today in a time when my country Latvia has its 102nd birthday. India and Latvia are geographically far away from each other, but during the last years, we have witnessed many moments of getting closer in our activities. Prime Minister of the Republic of Latvia visited India in 2017. He came together with a large business delegation, and during the visit, Mr. Kuczynskis met His Excellency Mr. Ram Nath Kovind, President of the Republic of India, and His Excellency Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India. On January this year, the Latvian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Edgars Rinkēvičs, met with the Prime Minister of the Republic of India, His Excellency Narendra Modi. Latvia would like to note, Mr. Rinkēvičs said, that the number of Indian students is on the rise, and therefore cooperation based on direct contacts and mutual understanding between authorities in Latvia and India at all working levels in the education and science sector is essential for results-oriented cooperation in the future. Honorable Vice President of India, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, was the first top official of India visiting Latvia so far. The visit took place in August last year. When visiting Latvian Library, Honorable Vice President opened the sculpture of Mahatma Gandhi and donated books to the library. In the library, one could attend a small exhibition characterizing similarities of Latvian language and Sanskrit. It is very exciting to know that foot in Latvian pēda and in Sanskrit is pada, and vayu and veish is wind, both in Sanskrit and in Latvian. It reminds us about very ancient winds of desire of people to move and reach new lands. The desire to get new knowledge, get different experience, which is so close to the human nature. Nowadays, it is so simple to move from one place to another, get a new knowledge, new experience, new friends. Studies abroad is one of the most significant human flows due to its consequence for countries involved in that flow. And I'm very happy about participation of my university in the global flow. For us at the RTU, the flow India, Latvia, India is the strongest. More than 1,000 Indian students are now studying at the Riga Technical University. We at Riga Technical University deeply agree with Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya thought. The best gift to give is to build in other person's self-confidence through encouragement. Encouragement to be able to build your own life through hard learning, leading to ability to take independent and right decisions which affect many people around. This is the true role of each university, which will never change, regardless of methods of teaching. Cooperation between Riga Technical University and education institutions in India started more than 15 years ago when RT delegations paid first visits to IITs Delhi and IIT Madras. Participation in large education fairs and signing contracts with reputable education agency almost immediately lead us to first group of master's students from India getting excellent work opportunities after graduation. With a few of them, we still keep friendly contact. With activation of India-Latvia ties on different levels, economic, business, education, and culture, Latvian embassy was established in New Delhi. In fact, very much due to persistent activities by Riga Technical University and other colleges of Latvia. Since that time, the number of Indian students in Latvian universities and colleges has grown at least tenfold. There are several factors contributing to that. Accessibility for different social layers of Indian society. In fact, we as RTU are especially proud that we have contributed not just to the growth in numbers of Indian professionals in such fields as IT, sector, electronics, aviation, and mechanical engineering. We have contributed to the increase of social development of the country, creating opportunity to larger social groups to have access to international education, to study abroad, to get not only high-quality European education, but also to have large international experience, so valuable after their return to their homeland, India. Calm and friendly environment to study and feel safe. It is so essential for the development of young people to get global view in professional field, but also have deeper understanding of European, global issues, and what is more important, to have a clear view of place of India in that world. Increase of patriotic feelings based on that global experience, and thus serving India in the best way after the studies. Riga Technical University study programs are set up in order to develop critical engineering mind to take independent and socially responsible decisions. While studying and communicating with their Latvian fellow students, they get clear and in most cases very positive feelings about Latvia, about Europe. In a few years, it will be a very serious factor to develop the whole spectrum of Indian-Latvian relations. At the same time, the large number of Indian students at Riga Technical University significantly contribute to interest of people of Latvia, especially young people, about India, huge country with very vibrant and diverse culture. We were quite happy to organize Diwali Festival, Festival of Bollywood dancing. Indian students are very eager to organize cricket competitions with students from other Latvian colleges and students at the RTU, which are originating from Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Some of them have been very successful to introduce Indian food, Indian dances to people of Latvia. With our relationship with Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, the prominent education institution in Haridwar is just another, but very essential direction of our relations with universities in India. The idea to open the Baltic Center in Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya has been much more than just interesting curiosity to do something no university in India has done before. The brilliant idea to set up a center tying up India with 3 Baltic nations, setting up links probably existing many thousand years ago, Getting back to the source of similar words, similarities in cultures, raised an interest of Indian students about very specific and very interesting part of authentic European culture, traditions, leading to the interest to study Baltic languages and culture. Knowledge of some Latvian would open many doors in Riga. Indian and Latvian joint development of technologies and innovations, establishing of Latvian-Indian or Baltic-Indian trade routes. Riga Technical University is very eager to participate in that initiative. Just before the outbreak of COVID-19 in March this year, we sent our delegation to Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, including one teacher of Latvian language. Our initiative to teach Latvian was suspended, but we are ready and very interested to restart that activity again. Teaching basics of Latvian language and culture to students of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. We already have experience to conduct such projects in other countries in Asia. And in case of the Baltic Center in Haridwar, we would be happy to arrange additional investments in order to make Baltic Center a really attractive place for Indian youth, a place where Indian and Latvian cultures could meet. This week is very special in Latvia. Just a few days we celebrated Large Places Day, the most special memorial day for all Latvians, when very first Latvian army units successfully defended our capital Riga against joint Russian-German forces. During this week, we have the main date of modern Latvian history, Independence Day, when in 1918, during the cold days of the final phase of the World War I, a group of very brave Latvians proclaimed independence amidst horrors of the war and misery, when large part of the population was scattered through the large areas of Western and Central Russia, Siberia, and Central Asia as refugees or military personnel. An enemy's army was just a few street blocks away. Success of Latvian independence, to a large extent, is due to heroic actions of its army, broad support by people of Latvia, both in towns and on the countryside, but also due to clear strategic vision generated by highly educated and patriotic minds. It is so essential to have well-educated and patriotic minds in times critical for the nation. By education, I mean not just professional, engineering, medical, IT, I mean human education in a broad sense. I'm very happy to tell that just a month ago, Riga Technical University was awarded significant financial resources by European Union. Together with universities in France, Germany, Ireland, Spain, Romania, Bulgaria, and Cyprus, to set up a unified European University of Technology. Project EUT+, aiming at consolidation and internationalization in order to gain world level of excellence. The project has a name, Think Human First, meaning that is not only about technological education, it is about human part of university education, where this human part, human responsibility, is just as essential as pure technological education. The project will last 3 years, and then after it will be continued. And we will be very happy to share our experience with our partners from Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. Again, I need to cite Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya. A man is free to do anything, but there is no choice regarding the selection of consequences. We need to make the right choices in our lives. Thank you.
Honorable representatives of the Dev Sanskriti University, dear friends of India, and my colleagues from the other Baltic states, it's a great honor to welcome you at this online conference, to send you my best regards from Republic of Latvia, from the University of Latvia, and a lot of Indian friends in our northern country. I recall the August 2016, when the first center in Asia devoted to the Baltic culture studies had been inaugurated in Dev Sanskriti University. I remember your hospitality. I am very sure that this center is a great contribution in our friendship, and I am very well aware that it was only beginning. Our cooperation is going to develop. India is becoming much more popular and well-known country in Latvia as well as in other Baltic states, and I hope very much that the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia, would become much more familiar in India, and it would result in student exchange, in cooperation among entrepreneurs, and in common research activities. There is a growing interest in Latvia about Indian issues. We had common conferences and fora for our entrepreneurs. We have even more than 3,000 students from India in Latvia, and University of Latvia is very proud about our International Institute for Indian Studies. We were one of the first universities in the Baltic states opening Center for Indian Studies, led by Professor Sigma Ankrava, a great friend of India. And now the International Institute, under the guidance of Professor Valdis Pīrāgs, is becoming more and more popular among Latvian students. Our students are studying Indian medicine, devoted them to Ayurveda and yoga studies, and as a linguist I am especially proud about the possibility provided for our students to learn Sanskrit, Hindi and other Indian languages, and it would benefit to our mutual understanding. We are very well aware that there are a lot of common issues among Latvia and India. We are studying Indian folklore, fairy tales. Now our representatives from the International Institute of Indian Studies are compiling terminological dictionary about Indian terminology and its translation into Latvian. It's very important for the development of the Latvian language. Terminology is considered a very necessary aspect of language maintenance, and we are proud to demonstrate that it's possible to say everything we could say in Sanskrit and other Indian languages in Latvian. Yes, Sanskrit, Latvian, Lithuanian, and some other Indian languages are closely related. They all are Indo-European languages. And for studies in Indo-European linguistics, for studies of Latvian and Lithuanian, our Sanskrit language skills are very important. I appreciate very much the possibility provided by Dev Sanskriti University for our students who wanted to study Sanskrit and Indian culture. My doctoral student, previously master student Vija Požarnova, spent a half a year in Dev Sanskriti University. Now she is taking part in implementing of our philology programs at the University of Latvia, and other doctoral student, Laura Grīviņa, is also using her knowledge of Sanskrit and Indian culture to teach general linguistics to our students at the Faculty of Humanities. We are very well aware that although Latvia and India are geographically distant countries, culturally we are very closely united. We have a common history of colonial past. We have learned about non-violent resistance in India, and as you know, we repeated almost the same scenario in the Baltic states.
Good afternoon, dear conference participants. Pranam. It is my pleasure to greet all the participants of this great event and express the deepest words of gratitude to the conference organizers for arranging the event of such significance for a Baltic-Indian contacts despite the extreme circumstances of the pandemic. Now I am going to focus on my talk, India and Latvia, a personal bond. The ties, communication and cooperation between India and Latvia have a long tradition and important role and great future prospects. Linguistically, it has been determined by our languages belonging to a common Indo-European language family. In folklore, by typology in melodics and ornamentation, but historically by similar experience of both countries characterized by long period of existence under the influence of other superpowers and development of strategies to preserve their national identity, and after having gained the independence, to promote it. India and its spiritual leaders are recognized in Latvia. Even at the time of Latvia being under Soviet occupation and the political discourse of totalitarianism being developed, India was one of the few legitimate foreign vectors allowed to be mainstreamed. One of the first examples of India's representation in the Latvian cultural space, which was even included in the school textbooks of that time, is the phenomenon of poet Mirza Tempe. She was portraying India to the Soviet Latvian society in an Oriental discourse. India is a mysterious, unfamiliar, bright country, something that the Eastern culture is most often related to and associated with in our perception. Mirza Tempe had extensive correspondence, official letters of the Indian embassy and personal letters from the ambassadors to the Latvian poet. She corresponded with the prominent Indian Bengali philologist Suniti Kumar Chatterjee, and the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, promoted these Indian spirit giants among the general Latvian public. The name of India in Latvia is also associated with Professor Viktors Ivbulis. He is an outstanding Indiologist, literary scholar, a popularizer of Asian and Indian history in Latvia and Europe, as well as a founder of Asian Studies in Latvia. Viktors Ivbulis is mainly focused on the research of the life and work of the writer Rabindranath Tagore. The research also centers around Bengali, Indian literature and the theory and methodology of modern and postmodern literature. He has become the first PhD in Indian literature in the Soviet Union outside Moscow, and is the only international Indiologist in Latvia. In 2002, Viktors Ivbulis received the award of the government of West Bengal state for his book Tagore, East and West Cultural Unity. The few examples of cultural and educational contacts that I have mentioned show that we have so far underused the opportunities for cooperation the two countries. And the reason is not only the great geographical distance, but also the insufficiently promoted and coordinated models of further cooperation. The mobility of modern people and global thinking are the reasons for intensifying and cooperation between two countries, not only in the economics and tourism, but also in culture and education. Daugavpils University, like Latvian higher education institutions in general, sees great potential for cooperation with Indian higher education institutions in both studies and research, strengthening this cooperation with the internationalization component. Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya University and its energetic vice-rector Chinmay Pandya have made a significant contribution to strengthening educational contacts between the Baltics and India. To mark the many trajectories of cooperation between Latvian and Indian universities, I will give examples of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya University cooperation with one of the universities of Latvia, Daugavpils University. On the part of Daugavpils University, cooperation with Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya University is ensured by the Center for Latvia Studies, established in 2016, which specializes in the elaboration and implementation of programs of teaching Latvian language and state studies to foreigners. In 2020, the Center for Latvian Studies of Daugavpils University started cooperation with Indian colleagues in teaching Latvian as a foreign language and Latvian culture studies, but for the time being this cooperation is limited to the opportunities offered by the Erasmus exchange program. I believe that there are great prospects for the development of new distance learning modules as one of the first priorities in the further exchange of educational products between Latvia and India. However, this is only one solution. Full-time studies in another country and culture provide a lot of experience in developing students' critical thinking and creativity, so the exchange of students and teachers is very important. In turn, the exchange of lecturers and researchers will give academic staff of both countries opportunities to observe and improve pedagogical methods, the ability to adapt, evaluate, and supplement the content of study courses and scientific research material, develop innovative teaching, methodological and scientific materials, and innovative digital humanities products. Latvian universities are open to Indian students and lecturers for various forms of collaboration, to engage in scientific research, to organize internship, field research, and to learn Latvian among the native language speakers. Cooperation is also ensured in joint research projects, conferences, and seminars. Lecturers of the Indian university are welcome in Latvia in general and in Daugavpils University, which I represent in particular. And this concerns not only teaching such specialized study courses as Indian culture and Buddhism, but also all other study directions in the humanities and social sciences, natural sciences, and engineering. The Latvian education system is currently in the process of many significant content and management changes. From this year on, the studies in Latvian schools are organized in accordance with the competency-based education model. It offers to introduce such general education content and approach to teaching in Latvia from preschool to secondary school, that would result in students' acquirement of knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for life in today's world. Several transversal skills are integrated into the curriculum: critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and entrepreneurship, self-directed learning, collaboration, civic participation, digital skills. The learning content is aimed at strengthening the values important to a modern human: responsibility, diligence, courage, honesty, wisdom, kindness, compassion, moderation, restraint, solidarity, justice, tolerance. Development-oriented change is being introduced in higher education. In Latvian universities, greater importance is given to the influence of employers, graduates, and other authorities on the performance of universities, so that it would result in greater compliance of study programs with the requirements of the labor market. At the same time, the digital competencies of the academic staff, the understanding of the student-centered study process, promoting the transfer of teaching and learning innovations are being improved so that they are suitable for work with both Latvian and foreign students. Set of core values which higher education governance should be founded on: integrity, sustainability, inclusivity, excellence, innovation and growth, community. In the current situation of intensive changes, the Latvian higher education system is redefining its strategic performance, prioritizing the internationalization of educational products. Each university creates new study programs in English, aligned with the largest research findings, offering a special focus or interdisciplinarity. For example, a wide range of linguistic and content aspects will be offered by the doctoral PhD study program Language and Literature Studies, jointly developed by Daugavpils University, Liepāja University, and Ventspils University College. Modules in linguistics, literary studies, and translation studies will be implemented in the program, and studies will be conducted in English and in Latvian. But it will be possible to defend the thesis in our languages too, if they focus on material related to other languages, culture, or literature. It is possible that in time there may be a doctoral dissertation written on Latvian-Indian cultural contacts, Indian resonance in Latvia, and Latvian resonance in India. Today is the 102nd anniversary of the Proclamation of the Republic of Latvia, but next year, on November 4, 2021, Daugavpils University will celebrate its centenary. Looking back on the past history and experience, the time has come to consider far-sighting future challenges. I think that the achievements and processes I have marked may serve the basis for predicting that in some time Latvian and Indian universities will find relevant points of contact, not only in active organization of student and lecturer exchange, but also in developing joint study programs, modules and study courses in professional, academic and lifelong education in forms of full-time, distance or combined learning. India and Latvia are much closer in the field of education than we think. Thank you very much for your attention. With best regards from Latvia and Daugavpils, Maija Burima.
Hello dear participants of Latvian Indian Summit. My name is Liga Koloda. I'm Foreign Affairs Specialist at Ventspils University of Applied Sciences in Latvia. This is my honor to be here today and give you my speech in a session of international relations. First, I would like to introduce a university itself. So we are located in Ventspils near the Baltic Sea. We have 3 faculties: Business Administration, Translation Studies and Information Technologies. We have around 1,000 students, which allows us to offer individual approach to our students. It allows professors to see strengths and weaknesses of each student and to help to develop those that it would benefit them in the future careers. A very important role in our university has also for science. We have scientific center, radio astronomy center. We have a regional development center and others. In these centers, a very important part is, of course, international cooperation. 8 years ago, when I started also to work at the international office, this university started international student recruitment. One of the first students, international students we had were from India. I remember the first student who arrived here in Latvia, he had quite a culture shock. Well, that's not a surprise, because this was a strange country with a different mentality, with a different climate, different food. Everything was completely different than a student had back home. During first month, it was very important that we supported him, that we offered our help as a simple thing, finding specific products he was looking for, finding the best places for meals, or everyday other support supplies. So we learned that these first months it is very important that we help our students, that we communicate with them, and we support them. No matter on a topic, it's not only for studies but also for a living in Ventspils. This is time also when we learned how important it is to learn about different cultures, to understand, to educate also students who come here prior their arrival, to explain, to tell what it is like to be here and what are the study process here, because also the study process are organized in a different manner. Now India is one of the top countries international students come from, not only in Ventspils but in Latvia in general. And we are proud to say that few of our top students come from India. At first, as I mentioned, it was a culture shock, well, but not only for the students, maybe also for our staff. So we try to educate them, we try to explain that each student is a personality in the first place. Each nationality has their own approaches, so we try to educate not only students but also our staff. We believe that this is very important also for the cooperation, to understand each other. It is very important that we have mutual understanding and respect for both cultures, or as many parties are involved in the project. To help each other to understand cultures and mentalities better, we have a program, Intercultural Communication and Languages, where we explain our students about different cultures, not only Latvian and Indian, but also other European cultures, which also may be very different from Latvian mentalities. And we believe that this will be one of the benefits for our students in the future, in their careers, because of the growing global impact of globalization. couple of years ago, we signed a cooperation agreement with Honorable Dev Sanskriti University, and our approach, our main goal is to exchange our culture knowledge, to tell Indians about Latvian culture and to bring Indian culture to Latvia, because India has one of the fastest growing economies nowadays, and it's only a matter of time when India and Latvia might have a very strong economical cooperation, which will help not only universities but also industries and businesses. Even though at the moment main subject of cooperation is planned in staff exchange and student exchange, we do believe that this is possible. It is possible to establish cooperation in joint programs, maybe in culture exchange, in courses in science, because each party has their own strengths, who could help them to develop projects who might be very helpful for a benefit of society. Growing impact of globalization is what brings us all together. So without globalization, probably we wouldn't be so aware of different cultures, different possibilities. Now different European projects and other projects support international cooperation, because it is not a secret that we can't be specialists in all fields. So we specialize in, for example, our Radio Astronomy Center are specializing in radio astronomy. In a cooperation with other universities, other institutions in other countries, it helps us to come to the goal faster and more efficiently. As an example, the first artificial satellite in Latvia, which was established by Ventspils University in a cooperation with the Bremen University in Germany, was launched from India. So here in Latvia, we wouldn't have this possibility because we do not have all the resources necessary for this goal. But when we all come together, we have bigger opportunities, and we can do greater things. Latvia is not a big country. This is not a secret. And very often when we go beyond Europe, or sometimes even in the Europe, first thing we have to explain is where is Latvia. And this was actually a very pleasant surprise to see that Dev Sanskriti University has established first Center for Baltic Culture and Studies. This will allow Baltic countries, and including Latvia, to bring their name beyond borders. It will help us to develop cooperation with Indian universities, with Indian institutions. It will help to prepare Indian students before they come here to Latvia, not only in a matter of language, but also mentality, to maybe even tell about the food, because, well, I can say from my experience when I was in India that food is completely different here than food in India. Even though it might seem as a small thing, if you're living in a country, food has a very important part in your life. International relations is about mutual understanding. It's about bringing qualities and our strengths together to reach better goals, to reach understanding between the nations, and to bring, how to explain it, how to tell people about who we are and not to be maybe sometimes scared from unknown, to explain that, for example, in this case, Indian culture has very good qualities. At the same time, Latvian culture has maybe different good qualities, and together we can make something good. Even though it is very easy now to work internationally because of the technology development, we can't forget about who we are, because culture is what makes us, our nation, so our mentality. I believe that key to successful cooperation is this mutual understanding and respect. And that this is also what we teach to our students, and hopefully they will take the best of Latvian culture and Indian culture and reach their goals, and hopefully they will establish successful businesses in Latvia, in Europe, or in India, and our cooperation will be even stronger than it is now. For the cooperation, very important part has embassies, because embassy is like a bridge between two nations. Indian embassy in Riga would help also international students here, because not always we are able to help students, because not always we understand exactly their needs. In this case, embassy would be the best place for students as a support center, as something closer to their home. Of course, we try to help our students as much as we can, but we can't help in all matters of life. For example, if there are documents necessary from India, then embassy would be the part which might help a lot. Embassy also helps in developing cooperation, in making contacts. So we are very grateful and thankful to the Embassy of Latvia in India, which has helped us with international student recruitment, which has helped us to understand the countries, relationship between countries better, and which has been involved in all these processes from the beginning. So even though cooperation between Latvia and India is still has a lot to develop, we do believe that it has a great future, and this will be something we all have to work on, so that this is something we all want and look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the speakers of Session 1. Your views and presentations were truly meaningful, and they have wonderfully helped to extend our journey in understanding the Latvian culture. And so this marks the end of day 1 of our e-summit. The views and perspectives that we have all obtained today are remarkable, and I'm sure all of our audience members have greatly benefited from them. At this point, we would, on behalf of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, we would like to wish all of our Latvian audiences a very happy Proclamation Day. And we would like to thank you for allowing us to participate in your celebrations through this e-summit and through day 1 of our e-conference today. To all of our audience members, we have yet another wonderful and power-packed day that is coming to you tomorrow, and we will continue to have meaningful discussions and explore different facets of the Latvian culture and further understand the relationship that India and Latvia share with each other. So please stay tuned with us and join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time for our next session, and this will be followed by a valedictory session, which will be held at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And so thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope and wish to see you all tomorrow. Thank you, and pranams from Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya.